So how does it happen that one person becomes able to dominate an entire business sector?
You mean as in a monopoly,
Yeah, it's
like
all
you
Elon
have, for
Musk.
example.
Oh, he can just take over the whole sector, and there's not many people able to compete with him.
Okay, so Elon Musk is a different. Elon Musk is a different scenario, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is just an exceptional person, and what he's doing, for example, now with building reusable rockets,
Yeah.
is an example of, you have reusable planes, right?
Yeah.
You don't take a plane, go to New York and say, dump the plane, I'll buy another plane when I want to go back to London, right? I mean, nobody does that, right?
Yeah.
But you do that with spaceships, right?
Yeah.
And you do that with spaceships for two reasons. One is that the technology to solve the problem of bringing it back didn't exist.
Yeah.
And nobody asked the question for the last 20 years, has it existed? Is it coming? Is it possible? Nobody asked that question. They just said, cannot be done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that cannot be done was a decision that they did an evaluation 20 years ago, and NASA said, not possible.
Yeah.
And they had a good reason as well. A, the technology did not exist, and B, to bring the rocket back down, you need to save some fuel to re-land it. So that cuts the payload, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they looked at it and said, don't go down this path. Elon Musk came along and he said, technology has changed. Why can't we go down this path, right? So his is a different scenario. In terms of monopoly, when you have a monopoly, you have the ability to experiment without pain to yourself, right?
Yeah.
But you also have the risk that you can exploit the people.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult, in the Rockefeller in the 1890s, 1880, I think it was, owned 90% of the refining capacity in America, 90.
Yeah.
US had 85% market share of global oil, which was mainly kerosene at that time, right? He kept defending his monopoly as saying that, I can bring prices down because I have a monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear that all the time, right?
Yeah.
So you hear that in every company, and part of it is true. The question is the problem is you never know.
Yeah.
Right? So is it right for Google to control 90% of digital global advertising revenue? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And Australia took a very hard line this year and said that unless you're going to distribute some of that to content providers in Australia, we're going to stop you.
Yeah.
And Google came back to the table and said, yeah, let's talk about how much we're going to distribute.
Yeah.
So, you live in the UK, NHS, if NHS was not a monopoly, would it do a better job? I don't think so. I think the problem with monopolies is that the people exploit the monopoly. The monopoly itself, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because you get economies of scale. And competition isn't always, it's very hard to sort of come to a view on this because the monopoly is run by somebody.
Yeah.
How that somebody works,
Yeah.
what their values are, is something that you don't know. So monopolies have their roles and monopolies come and go, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to see, I wonder whether the advertising monopoly will be broken. I'm not sure on Google.
Yeah.
But Amazon is no longer the sole player in the retail space. In fact, I think the largest company in the world in revenue terms is still Walmart.
Okay.
Or Alibaba Group. So you have, there are massive advantages of being a monopoly.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Because policies like the fair trade policy and stuff, there to kind of, what would you say they're there to kind of stop a monopoly, or what effect do they actually
Yes. No, if you come back to Rockefeller, he built Southern Oil, and in, I think, 1890, almost before 1900s, President Roosevelt passed the Anti-Monopolies Act, and that broke down Southern Oil into different components. So it became Exxon, Chevron, all the component companies. And the irony of it is that he was worth far more after it was broken into pieces than he was when it was a whole. It's just that the market evolved, and suddenly he owned stakes in all these companies.
Distributed,
and they all became massive. So I mean, it's like saying, can you get at the morality of a man? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.